You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Hello, welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. My name is Dan Robertson, joined by Ashley Preece as ever. Ash, how are you this fine Friday afternoon?
Yeah, back in after a couple of days off. Dean Smith's press conference this morning. Bit of a blow, everyone knows. Ollie Watkins still missing. Still playing on the knee there, so that's a big blow, that is, considering how Villa were last week. So I thought he'd shake that off, but still causing an issue. And obviously, Bertrand Traore out for 3 weeks now after picking up that hamstring injury at Liverpool on Sunday. So, yeah, team news is in. A bit of a blow, a bit of a concern amongst the supporters, but Newcastle there on Saturday, full house, and come on now, let's go and take the game to them.
Yeah, we'll talk about those injuries in a bit of detail as we go throughout this episode. We've also got a little 10-minute chat with our Newcastle correspondent, Andrew Musgrove, which I'll bolt on to the end of this podcast as well. And you spoke to him yesterday, I think it was, and spoke about the game more in depth from the Newcastle end as well. So we'll have this as a little match preview. But obviously the fresh news today is that Ollie Watkins injury is the main one that we all thought, well, it's only a bit of bruising. How bad can it be? Maybe he'll miss one game and be back. But I kind of heard it all before, haven't we, with Smith saying it's not a long-term injury, and everyone's going, well, Jack Greaves had the same thing and was out for 3 months. So the conspiracy theorists are out saying, well, this is Ollie Watkins out till Christmas then. The realists are probably thinking maybe Brentford, because that's what Smith said. So you have to trust that maybe he'll be back for that, I guess.
Yeah, he did say, if not Brentford, then after the international break. So
that's another couple of weeks then.
Yeah, so we'll see with that one. But bruised knee, so the bruising's taking time to heal. And yeah, a big blow given the way Villa performed at Watford without him. They need that press, they need that pace up front. It's got to be Danny Ings again to lead the line. It's a good job we signed Ings in the end, otherwise we'd have a big Wesley up there, and that's it. So big day for Danny Ings tomorrow on Saturday. He's Villa Park debut, Villa colours. Hopefully he can get off the mark again. And I expect him to be in good support. Burndeer up there with him. I'd like to see Bailey play, although Dean Smith has hinted that Bailey isn't likely to start in his broadcast section there. So remains to be seen what he does with Leon Bailey. I'd throw him straight in.
Me too.
Ahead of Algazi. Algazi didn't show enough last week for me. And yeah, there's still a decent side there that can go and beat Newcastle. For all the doom and gloom, Villa have got a decent setup there. And hopefully they can get the 3 points tomorrow then.
What was Smith like in his presser? I think I ask you this question every week, really. What's his demeanour like? What mood was he in? How will he have handled, the defeat on the opening day? What kind of mood did you get from Smith when you spoke to him this morning?
He was quite defensive to me. He was quite snappy, quite short-answered with me. He didn't go into much detail about any questions. I think he had a longer broadcast section. It can be quite tiresome, asking loads of questions. So I think by the time he come to us newspaper lads, he was a bit bored of it then, kind of thing. He wanted to get out there and get trained. So didn't get much from Smith then. But his demeanour this week, I think he put the arm around the lad and say, listen, we've got a caught cold there. That can't happen again. I think he mentioned Matt Targett took his withdrawal last week quite well. He actually said Targett picked up an injury at the Chelsea game back in May. He was in a protective boot for 6 weeks. And he missed the start of pre-season, which obviously Targett is way off the pace against Watford.
Pretty obvious, really, wasn't it? That I think me and James said in our post-match episode that you don't become a bad player overnight. There's got to be some fitness concerns there, and he clearly wasn't match fit and ready to go for the first game. And a bit like everybody, really, with a disjointed pre-season, that's expected. Yep. It's just whether literally 1 week later, is that enough for the players to be fitter than they were last week, or is it still going to be another couple of weeks before we see the proper Villa?
Yeah, exactly that. So, it'd be interesting to see what he does tomorrow against Newcastle. Will Targett go back in? So he played against Liverpool on the Sunday, got 45 minutes there as well. So, or will he drop Ashley Young back in there? He coped with Sarr quite well, and I think Steve Bruce will probably say to Saint-Maximin, go and play on their left back, whoever it'll be. So, it'll be interesting dimension, that one, to look out for tomorrow. Elsewhere, Dean Smith asked about his midfield. He says he's well stocked in that department at present. I did a comment piece earlier this week. I said quite similar. There's 7 central midfielders there to choose from, and at the moment it's well stocked. I know people want some more in there, but I think one needs to leave, and that'll probably be Conor Hourihane. And when he goes, I think Villa will bring one in. And maybe they're working on that at the moment. Everyone's seen Ward Prowse's new contract yesterday, so that's out the equation. So one we need to go out before Villa sign another midfielder. I know Villa fans are craving another midfielder to come in, but I think Smith I think he said it today just as well. He's happy to go with what he's got this season, knowing he's got Douglas Luiz, Sanson to come back in. So that midfield's a bit of a big talking point at the moment, isn't it, Dan? For me, against Newcastle on Saturday, I'll go back to 3, put a 3 in there. I'll probably bring Jacob Ramsey in. I thought he did well against Watford. I'll bring a 3 in there, make it quite tight. McGinn, Nakamba, and Ramsey. I don't think Douglas Luiz or Sanson can start yet.
I was just about to ask about those two. Did Smith mention their fitness and availability?
Yeah, I asked him about them pair. He said Santos's back training now, which probably hinted at not starting, but probably back in the squad. And then Douglas Luiz, he basically said the same thing. He's only had 2 to 3 days training. He's managing his fitness at the moment. He's had a big workload over the summer, as we all know. So I can't see him starting either. So I think it might be Jacob who's fit and ready to go. McGinn and Nakamba. Obviously, McGinn hopefully gets that license to go forward, and probably Jacob to drop in just in case. So I banged on about McGinn playing further forward. I want to see that. Seen it last week in the second half. He took his goal so well. So midfield's a bit of a jigsaw at the moment, isn't it? Big massive talking points ahead of kick-off tomorrow. So we'll see what we do in that respect. But I prefer to see Buendia out wide. With more space and time on the ball, and he can drift in and out. So hopefully he can play on the right side or the left side, and I'd like to see a start for Leon Bailey for me. So and Danny Ings will probably spearhead the attack.
Talk to me a bit about Traore's injury and explain how that happened. What with this pre-season? Well, I say it was pre-season friendly, but it's post-season because it was after the first game of the season against Liverpool. He scored and gets injured. How does that happen? How long is he out for? And how much of a blow it is for Villa? Because as much as he's not the starting winger at the moment, because on paper it's Bailey and Buendia, as of today, those two aren't fit and up to speed to start games, and Traore would have been. So Traore fit would have started for me.
Yeah, I mean, he won that penalty last week as well. Got so much trickery.
Lively when he came on, changed the game.
Very lively. He got tired defensive legs. You don't Bertrand Traore running at you with his snake hips and all sorts. So, big blow for Villa, that one for me. I thought he did well last season. I think he's due to have a really good one this time around. And picked up a hamstring injury late on. He scored a great goal at Anfield. Don't know if everyone's seen the clip. It was similar to his goal against West Brom away. Just stroked it home. So, and then hobbled off with a hamstring injury after that. He's out for 3 weeks now, and it's not ideal, is it? Smith wanted minutes in them legs. Obviously, Traore had a groin operation in June, missed a big spell of pre-season, needed some match minutes. Obviously, the friendly against Nottingham Forest was cancelled, and then took a team up to Anfield, and Traore got injured. So massive blow. He's out until after the international period now. Might see him against Chelsea on September the 11th. So not ideal again, is it? Another injury there to Traore, so Villa got to manage without at the moment, and it'd be Buendia, Bailey, perhaps Philip but also could see some match action tomorrow. We'll see.
Talk to me through your lineup then. You've kind of alluded to most positions there as you've been talking for the last 10 minutes or so. Run me through what formation you play and who'd be starting for you against Newcastle tomorrow.
I think Newcastle probably line up with the 5-3-2 as they did last week. They tend to go 5 at the back, 2 wing backs, Matt Ritchie and Murphy as well. So, but I'll go back, same back 5. I'll go Martinez, I'll go Cash, I'll go Konsa, I'll go Mings. Then it's a toss-up with Targett and Ashley Young, isn't it? What do you do there, Dan? I'll probably throw Ashley Young in. I don't know. It's a tough one. I think Targett will be determined to prove last week with his blip. So either one of them, I'll be happy to see start. Not really too fussed as long as they're putting the performance. Midfield for me, I'd go Nakamba again. I felt sorry for him last week. He tried to do it all. He was trying to be a number 10 at times as well. It's not his game. He was slipping in ings, and I felt sorry for him because he didn't have much protection there. So I played Nakamba. I played McGinn. I played Jacob Ramsey. I'll give him a start in front of a home crowd. See what he can do. He's impressed me over pre-season, Jacob Ramsey. I know he's a bit of a marmite amongst supporters, but I think he has impressed me over pre-season. So I'd start him in the midfield 3. And 3 up front, I'd go Buendia, Bailey and Ings. Probably Buendia on the left side, Bailey on the right side. Both of them can cut in on the stronger feet. And Danny Ings to lead the line. Hopefully makes it 2-2 and get another goal. So that'd be my 11. I'd go with options. You could probably chuck Philogene Bedoysin if you'd like to. I'd personally take El Ghazi out. I didn't think he did enough last week. And the midfield's a bit light at the moment, isn't it? I don't think we've got much options at present to choose from in terms of fitness-wise. So it's as you were. Chuck Mwika, 17-year-old, I wouldn't throw him in just yet. And I don't think Connor, he missed from the squad last week. I don't think he comes in either. So that'd be my 11, Dan. I don't know what others would be. If you want to drop them in the comments before kick-off.
It's difficult, isn't it, with that midfield? Because, like you said, you're not going to throw Chukwuemeka in. If you're going to throw one of the youngsters in, it is Ramsey, because he's the more senior out of the two. Douglas Luiz isn't fit and available to play, and he'd probably be one of the first names in the midfield. Sanson is a mystery at this point. We don't know what he can quite offer and where his fitness is and what his potential is. So the only ones you've got left is Nakamba, McGinn and Ramsey, really, if you want to play a three. And you probably look at the recruitment and say, well, yeah, Dean Smith might be happy with what we've got, but that does make it look like we are quite light if you're starting Jacob Ramsey and Nakamba in the Premier League.
Well, can McGinn play in the 2? I'm not so sure. Villa played in the 2 last week. I know Buendia plays the 10, but it was a 2 in there, wasn't it? McGinn and Nakamba. A pair of them struggled. And then when Smith brought Ramsey in at half-time, it improved massively. McGinn getting his goal the way he did, edge of the box, bang. That's where you want him. So with Ramsey coming into the midfield tomorrow, it just gets the shackles off McGinn, doesn't it, really? He can go out and express himself a bit more. He can license to roam and hurt Newcastle. That's what we want to do. Want to pose questions to them, not the other way around, and be resolute and stopping gaps. We want to go and press them. So that's what I'll go with. And big day for Ramsey if he starts. 19-year-old now, very much a senior member of this squad. Breakthrough season last season. Floor's yours, Jacob. Go and prove yourself in front of a home crowd. Go and win them all over, and then you'll start next week, and that's it. So a big day for Ramsey should he start, because he needs to start proving to himself now and to others that he's a Premier League performer. And a good one.
Mentioned the Villa Park crowd. Can't wait to go back for a start. I know you've been lucky enough to go back, every game, reporting on it. But first one back with fans and a full sellout crowd from both ends. I can't wait, and you just want to win, don't you, at all costs? As much as we can look at previews and analysis and who might play where and trying to go in depth, just win at any cost. I don't care how it happens tomorrow. Just that first game back, I don't want to be losing.
Yeah, exactly that. And yeah, you say I've been lucky to go. It has been rubbish. The empty stadiums, just soulless. It's been dreadful. Like in the tempo of it's been really bad. I mean, I was at Watford last week. It was such an occasion. I know it was massive. I mean, I had goosebumps, and even when like Targett slips over or someone slips over, the crowd are on you. It just makes such a difference momentum wise. And then the crowd are roaring on Sarr to go down the right wing, and Villa all at 6s and 7s. And yeah, I think that plays a factor. I think the home crowds this season will play a massive factor with home form. Obviously, that was out the window last 18 months, and yeah, well, has it been 553 days, Dan, since Spurs? My
last game was the Leicester semi-final, so it's another 30-odd days or something before that.
It's going to be huge. It should be a real party atmosphere. Everyone back with their mates and family and people they haven't seen in ages, and let's lap it up. You know what I mean? It's going to be a brilliant occasion. And the Old End and Villa Park, it's going to put some points on the board this season. I don't care what we say. Such a crowd. And I can't wait, mate. It's going to be such a day tomorrow.
All right, let's hand over to Newcastle, and then we've mentioned it a few times like this. You caught up with Andrew Musgrove yesterday, and let's see what the Newcastle side think of us.
And we're just speaking there off camera about the interesting contrast between the two clubs. I mean, in fact, the similarities actually with the performances. First off, we're talking about contrast of managers, but we'll talk about that performances first, because as you said, Villa's first half was not good, but the second half was a bit better. Newcastle's first half was pretty decent. Second half, they were pretty poor. So both teams had this Jekyll and Hyde performance. And what was really interesting, I found, Ashley, was I've just looked back through the quotes from both managers, and we'll talk about the difference in how they reacted to these games. But one thing they both said, nearly word for word, was that they got done on the counter-attack. So for a neutral, it might be a very good game on Saturday.
Definitely, yeah. Ismail Assar from Watford just caused us carnage. It was all over Matt Targett. So I'm hoping Saint Maximum and co just ease off Villa a little bit, because at the moment, Andrew, Villa are unfit. They're an unfit side, which was there for all to see the first 45 against Watford. We've had players injured. Club record signing, Emi Buendia. He's been out injured. That's his first minutes last week in 2 weeks. Leon Bailey, another big signing. That was his first half an hour in a Villa shirt. So they're all still bedding in. And Danny Ings hasn't played with them pair either yet as well. So yeah, it's just bedding in period at the moment, and Villa aren't fit, and I think they got caught cold against Watford in that first 45 minutes.
Are you talking about those players you've just mentioned not being fit, or is it generally the team? Because Dean Smith was quite impressed by all accounts with the pre-season and how it went.
Yeah, I think he would say that anyway. But the squad as a whole, the day after Watford, Villa booked in a game at Anfield against Liverpool, just get some minutes in the legs. Matt Targett played in that, and he played it on Saturday as well. So just frantically rushing around to try and get some minutes into the players at the moment. Obviously, we had Dee Smith was self-isolating throughout pre-season for the first 2 weeks. And then we obviously had to cancel games due to COVID, Nottingham Forest, and then Sevilla was cancelled as well. So it's been a bit disruptive pre-season for Villa. So that's why I'm a bit tentative going into this fixture on Saturday, given what we see at Watford. I think Newcastle, if they come out quickly, get an early goal, I think it could turn. So, hopefully, I think home crowds have a massive impact on that this season. They're back in. I think that played a key role in Newcastle's first half. I'm guessing at St James's. They did well there. So I'm hoping that the Villa Park effect can come into play on Saturday and hopefully a couple of early goals and put Newcastle on the back foot.
From Newcastle's point of view, a sold-out away end will certainly hopefully boost their confidence. We mentioned there Dean Smith talking about getting done on the counter-attack. I'm just wondering, you mentioned there that they've played Liverpool in a kind of a friendly earlier this week. What will he be doing to kind of fix that issue? Because it's no secret. You look at Newcastle and their strength is on the counter-attack. You give the ball to maximum to Almiron and they'll just run, try and catch the defence out. So what will Dean Smith be looking? Because it's not only a case you've got to fix that, you're playing against a side who's actually quite good on the counter.
It's going to be a game of poker or chess. I can really see that because I think Dean Smith want to be defensively solid for the first half because they weren't that on Saturday. So he could revert to a 3-man midfield. He obviously played 2 in there at Watford. He's looking to go two up top now with Ings and Watkins. So he's changing the whole dynamic now without Jack Grealish. That's a bit of a concern there. But yeah, it could be quite a cagey first opening 20 minutes, like a kind of a boxing match, sussing each other out. But yeah, Newcastle are the masters at that. I know they soak up the pressure and bang, St Maximum, Almiron, Callum Wilson. There you go. So Villa got to be wary of that threat. Likewise with Newcastle, Villa's threat. I mean, Watkins up front. That's a massive. He should start on Saturday. That's a massive thing, massive news for Villa that he's coming back in. They missed him dearly against Watford, and yeah, the new boys did look okay. Leon Bailey especially, he'll start on Saturday. I think he looks a real player, £30 million player there, and yeah, hopefully it can work. But yeah, I think it'll be quite evenly matched to begin with. Both sides just each other out, and then it's whoever scores first.
I was going to say, because Newcastle in the second half against West Ham, their defence looked slow. They were out of position. They just lacked pace. They couldn't handle the likes of Antonio. So when you do consider Watkins being back, he's got a bit of pace about him. Bailey, there's a lot of fast attacking players that Villa have got, and I'm guessing from a Villa point of view, they will be looking at how West Ham managed to turn the tables on Newcastle by catching the likes of Fernandes out of position, Matt Ritchie. They'll be looking to do exactly the same on Saturday.
Yeah, totally that. Yeah, I think they'll be studying them clips right now. Yeah, Villa have got good attacking options there now with Buendia. They spent £95 million, Andrew. Not many clubs have done that this summer. I know they had to with the Grealish sale, and they're still adapting without Grealish. So it all depends on how quickly they gel. Hopefully it starts on Saturday. Hopefully it all clicks then. Full house at Villa Park for the first time in 18 months. So we'll see. We'll see. I see Paul's comment there, just saying that Villa will destroy us. But I'm not too confident that given I would have been last season if Villa had a full strength side then. But coming into this one, off the back of the Watford first half, off the back of knowing players are still unfit, it's still a bit of concern there on Villa's behalf.
Lots of comparisons between Watkins and Callum Wilson. Obviously when Newcastle without Callum Wilson, they were much worse side, and Wilson scored on Sunday against West Ham, and there'll be hope from Newcastle's camp he'll continue to do that, and he'll look at the way Villa performed that first half and probably licking his lips at the thought of going against maybe Mings, who doesn't look at the level where we expect him to be at. Defensively, what was the issue? You've mentioned there that they're a bit unfit still. They haven't got that full prep, but is there anything else playing into it, you think?
It's the midfield, Andrew. The midfield. That's the sticking point amongst supporters at the moment. We've got a big issue there at the moment. Fans are desperate to get to see a big bruising number 6 coming, an enforcer. We haven't got that at Villa at the moment. On Saturday, he played John McGinn. He plays him deep, and he played marvellously camera next to him. So, and obviously Buendia was just ahead of them. But yeah, midfield's a big talking points amongst Villa at the moment. it's square pegs, round holes, I should say, with that at the moment. It's not gelling. So I'm interested how Newcastle line up. With Shelvey in there, with with 3-man midfield for Newcastle. And Watford, they got real success out of 3-man in midfield. The likes of Kukat, Cleverley, and Etobo. They just jumped on Villa, pressed them, harried them. That's where they won the ball in midfield. Give it Sarr and Dennis up front, and they were 2-0 up. So if Newcastle can get a strong goal in Villa's midfield early doors, that's where success is going to lie. Because Villa defensively, they were solid last season. They've got no questions about defensively. Tyrone Mings, Ezri Konsa, Matt Targett did struggle. We've got Ashley Young to come in if Smith wants a calmer head against Maximum down that left side, and Matty Cash at right back, and Martinez is one of the best in the league. But in terms of Villa defensively, it's that midfield, that the engine room in there. They got outran on Saturday. So if Newcastle look at them clips and see what Watford did, they could have some success there.
Joe Willock likely to make his debut for Newcastle. Probably Isaac Hayden to drop out, but then that does leave Newcastle a bit exposed because he's the defensive man who really, Shelvey will probably play the deepest, but he's not a man who really sticks his foot in. So it'll be interesting to see who indeed he does drop. Personally, I would take Shelvey out the side and keep Hayden in to get that bit of defensive bite, but Steve Bruce is a big fan of Shelvey, who's made captain in Lascelles' absence, and it doesn't look like I can't see him dropping him. Then there's the defensive issues. Newcastle, I say, second half were all over the shop, and Lascelles was on the bench, Cher was on the bench, so there might be some changes there. Matt Ritchie, out of position really for the second half and didn't look up to the standards we expect them. So maybe Jamal Lewis might come in. There's a few things, but it's a question of whether, and I suppose this applies to Dean Smith as well, whether you go in, really hard, you rattle the dressing room. You see, you were poor, second half, first half for Dean Smith's instance, and you make the changes, or whether you stick with, the team you had and just try and up their levels, because at the end of the day, they are your first pick.
Yeah, it'd be interesting in terms of that, Andrew. Whether he starts Matt Targett, he was the player of the season last season for Villa, and he really struggled against Sarr on Saturday. So whether he sticks with Matt Targett and says to him, go on then, prove it was just a hiccup, or whether he brings in Ashley Young, 36-year-old. He dealt with Sarr last week when he slightly back in there, and I think Bruce is going to say to Maximum, go Villa's left side, go at Targett if he starts, because he's under the cosh at the moment. And yeah, that'll be a really interesting battle down that side. But yeah, I think he'll make a couple of changes. I think he needs to. I think Al Ghazi, he didn't do anything last week, so I think Leon Bailey will start. New side, I've spoke about it, really excitement about him. And I think Watkins comes back in as well. I think he'll may drop Nicambra or someone like that, and then push Watkins up there. And I think we'll stick with Danny Ings from the off. So yeah, I think Villa will make changes as well. I'm expecting Newcastle to make changes as well. And I think we'll see what happens. But that first 20 minutes should set the tone.
Dean Smith seemed pretty angry, definitely the first half. I mean, I've got some of the words here. Lacked intensity, unrecognisable, annoyed, disappointed, just wasted 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce, in turn, actually blamed the penalty, said it was the turning point. He went for VAR. Quite rightly, it was a poor decision. And then at the end, he said, we don't defend well enough, need to tighten up, be better. But I felt there was a bit of contrast between the two managers and how they reacted. I'm just wondering, can you give our viewers and listeners any insight into how Dean Smith would have approached this week? I mean, would he have followed the same kind of line he did after the game, angry, getting right into them for performing so bad in the first half? Or will it be a bit more friendly behind the scenes, do you think?
I think he put the arm around him. I think he knows the pre-season they've had. Not to mention John Terry's left, but Kelly's left, so the two assistants down as well. So, like you say, it's played in that disruptive pre-season. I think he put his arm around him this week. He said last week wasn't good enough, but they got that response, didn't they, Andrew? They scored 2 in the second half. They made a fight of it. They did improve big time in that second half. It wasn't hard to do, but I think that first 45, they caught cold. New crowd in there. They haven't been used to that. That played a part. Just that momentum, isn't it? When Matt Targett slipped over or something, the crowd are on him, and I think Villa wilted in that sense. So, tables turn for this weekend. Villa Park full, packed to the rafters. Everyone knows what the atmosphere can be like there as well. Similar to St James's when that's bouncing. So, I think that will play a big part in that first opening half an hour. So, I think he put his arm around him this week. He'll say we can't dip to that level again. and we've got to be on it from the word go. I think Newcastle will be banged up as well. I think Newcastle got something to build off from that first half against West Ham. They look bright. They got Wilson's in the goals already, so I think Bruce will play similar. I think there's a result there for us to have today for Newcastle. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they both line up, and I think it'll be like a chess match to begin with, and whoever concedes first, and I think that's the way it'll go. But I think Smith will play friendly with them this week, and he'll try and get them going that way.
We've mentioned a few of the big players in the Villa side, but who is the main man Newcastle have got to keep quiet?
John McGinn. I'll go McGinn. He scored a belting goal last week. My personal opinion, he should be playing higher, like he does for Scotland. Real goal scoring midfielder, but at the moment, Smith and last season, Smith played in quite deep. So, but yeah, John McGinn started the season well. Funny line for Newcastle fans is he said in the interview recently, he said he's ditched all the club sandwiches and the pints over the summer. He's on yogurts and apples now. He's the fittest he's ever been. So I'll go John McGinn. I think he could be a player signed by Villa signed by Bruce at Villa. So hopefully he can come good.
Where's the main weakness? If you were telling Steve Bruce this is where you can hit Villa, what would you be telling them?
Yes, at midfield. At the midfield, if you get on top of Villa in midfield, you're going to have success. Villa haven't sussed that out at the moment. It's square peg round holes, like I've said, and just that's the main issue. You can really hurt Villa there in midfield.
Ironically, that was probably Newcastle's as well, because if you overrun them in midfield, it's then the defence is left unprotected despite
exactly that.
Technically being 5 at the back. Who are you most looking forward to seeing from a Newcastle point of view? Who do you fear the most?
It's obvious what he's saying, Maximin. He plays like he plays on the streets, and really like him. Got personality. Loved his assist last week. One way, the other way, the other way, the other way. yeah, makes you smile, doesn't he, Maximin? The way he plays, and he's loved up there, isn't he?
It's great when the cameraman doesn't know which way he's going. I love that. And just finally, then, Ashley, what's the score going to be?
I've got 2-2. I've got a 4-goal thriller. I'm going to go 2-2. Newcastle might peg Villa back late on. A lot of nerves, I think, in both camps at the moment, given the starts they've had. So yeah, I'm going to go for a bit of a goal fest. 2-2. Willett might get one on his debut, and I think Watkins and probably Bailey might get one for Villa. So yeah, I've got 2-2.
So I think the thing that sums up that whole conversation and what Villa are at the moment is that when Andrew says to you, which player should Newcastle look out for, you say McGinn, he had a great game against Watford last week. What's Villa's problem position? Midfield. How can the best player be part of the problem for Villa as well? I
felt silly when I answered that. He goes, McGinn, he looks he's fitter than he's ever been, and what's your problem midfield? I'm like, Well, yeah, it's funny. So Villa, that is, should let's get the best out of McGinn, because obviously it's clear from his display last week, he looked much fitter, got around the pitch a bit better. And then in the Euros, I thought he was good as well. So just getting the best out of McGinn, because there's a player in there, isn't there? We didn't see it for too long last season. Obviously, he's still adapting to that number 6 role. Smith fancies him in. And if you get the best out of McGinn, you're onto a good one. So that was my thinking there. He's come back much fitter than he's ever been. He said he's looked at Jack Grealish. I don't want to mention him too much, but he's looked at him and what he can achieve behind the scenes, and really nutrition and just really taking it seriously now. Whereas McGinn's a bit of a joker, isn't he? He just loves his football, and he said about ditching the club sandwiches and points and whatnot. In summer's gone by now, he's on yogurts and apples, and he's really taking it serious to be a real elite player in the Premier League, because we all know he can be that. So you're getting the best out of McGinn, you'll see the best out of Villa for me. He'll feed off that crowd tomorrow. Make no mistake about that. He'll be a massive beneficiary of a crowd behind him. You know what I mean? Charging in. But that it plays into that midfield again. If he's charging and listening to the crowd and roaring on and charging down lost causes, there might be a gap behind him that the opposition can exploit. So, yeah, I'd like to do shackles off McGinn a bit more this season, if possible, if you're listening, Dean Smith. But yeah, I don't keep saying, but yeah, if you get the best out of McGinn, you'll see a much better Villa.
At the back end of that clip, when Andrew asked for your score prediction, you said 2-2. Has that changed? It's only been 24 hours, but now you've had a bit more positive chat with myself heading into the game, the excitement of one more sleep to go. Is it still 2-2 you're going with, or do you want to change that prediction?
Yeah, I mean, Steve Bruce's side scoring 2 last week surprised me, and to score 2 again at Villa Park. Haven't scored at Villa Park in a long old while either. So, yeah, I was expecting a bit of a mad game tomorrow with the crowd back in. I don't know why it's gonna affect things for me. I think it'd be I'm expecting a goal fest for some reason. Saint Maximin, Callum Wilson, they've got threats there. Villa's defence will be a bit shaky after Watford. They'll have to book their ideas up in that way, and Villa have goals in their locker as well. So, yeah, I'll go with the 2-2, you know, maybe be a bit negative, but I'm hoping Villa just get over the line, you know, all this negativity, doom and gloom of late. Obviously, the big sale and then Watkins injured and the way it went last week, and the transfer activity, it's all doom and gloom. There's no reason to be. We nearly spent 100 million, got some great players on board now. Win tomorrow, even if it's by off Kieran Clark's backside. I'd love that. I'd love that of 1-0. let's do it. So yeah, it should be a massive occasion tomorrow. But I'd like to see a Villa win by hook or by crook. But I expect goals, so I'll probably stick with the 2-2. St. Maximin's a big danger, and it'd be interesting to see who plays left back.
Just for balance, I'm going to say 2-1 to Villa. Just so we've got a draw and we've got a win on the podcast. Definitely not going to be predicting a loss by any means. So I expect a couple of nerves. Don't think there'll be a clean sheet. I don't think off the top of my head, I don't think there was many clean sheets on the first weekend of last season.
Villa going close to 15 again now.
No, I think fans being back changes that somewhat. I think Spurs beat Man City 1-0, didn't they? Liverpool beat Norwich. Leicester beat Wolves 1-0. So there's a couple of clean sheets last week. I'm not talking absolute nonsense there. So yeah, I think Newcastle score, but Villa to win 2-1. And everyone go home happy, and then back again there the following week, another Saturday 3:00 for Brentford. And if you beat them, 6 points from the first 9 looks decent, doesn't it?
Yeah, hopefully we get some wins on the board now, much needed, and just hopefully we forget about what happened at Watford, quick time, and we can all move on and look ahead to Brentford. International break then, that'd be massive for Villa. Ahead of Chelsea, get the players back in. I know Douglas Luiz isn't in the Brazil squad, which is a bonus. So yeah, looking forward to that. And 3 points Saturday down, rocking Villa Park. I've missed it. It'll be great to see everyone. And just a couple of minutes before kick-off, it's going to be electric.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode. But until then, up the Villa.